Detectives already suspected Rebecca Fenton had murdered her husband Larry when they interviewed her just hours after he was shot dead in their Clearwater, Florida home.
There's some questions here that aren't making sense to me.
They're not making sense to us either.
But they don't have a scrap of evidence until they locate Larry's missing Jeep Cherokee 2 days later, just a block away from their home. And what they find in the vehicle, or rather don't find, confirms their suspicions that Larry wasn't killed in any home invasion robbery. The only loot found in the abandoned Jeep is some costume jewelry, a jar of coins, Larry's iPod, and his laptop computer, leaving detectives asking themselves why any bandit wouldn't at least take off with that.
After having just committed an armed residential burglary, murder, grand theft auto, and walk away with actually no proceeds whatsoever.
But then investigators make what appears to be a sensational case-breaking discovery in another car. The one belonging to Rebecca, where they find the murder weapon, Larry's own gun, in a plastic bag under the front passenger seat.
With 5 spent casings in it, 5 shots were fired inside the house.
Inside the bag was also jewelry that Larry always wore. There was a key to the gun case and also keys to the Cherokee that had been missing.
And now the evidence overwhelmingly doesn't point to a burglar. It points to Rebecca as her husband's killer.
The suspect would have to enter the residence, go up the stairway, mysteriously find the gun that's hidden in a bedroom drawer, come back downstairs, kill Larry, and then ransack the apartment, steal odds and ends, and then move it all to the Cherokee, take the Cherokee, drive it around the block, and then abandon it.
Before returning to the crime scene to plant the gun and other stolen articles in Rebecca's car.
It didn't make any sense.
Detectives believe they have Rebecca dead to rights.
Can you understand why the finger was pointed at you?
Absolutely.
They had also uncovered life insurance policies that added up to a lucrative motive.
If Larry tragically died or accidentally died or if something else happened to him, then she got almost $500,000.
As well as Larry's estate.
If she inherits Larry's wealth, she stands to gain over $1 million.
Rebecca would eventually get most of the insurance money, but scoffs at the suggestion she killed her husband for it.
I loved Larry, and Larry would have done me a lot more good alive, financially, than dead.
Regardless, all detectives now need to arrest Rebecca are the results of the forensic tests conducted after she was first interviewed by detectives.
Cooperated with every test, gunshot residue, hair, fibers, clothing, everything the night that Larry was killed.
And cops are astonished when the results of the gun residue test come in.
That came up negative.
Yes, it did.
Despite that, detectives still believe Rebecca shot her husband.
She could have taken a shower, she could have washed her hands, she could have worn gloves, and she wouldn't have GSR on her hands.
But Rebecca would then also pass not 1, but 3 polygraph tests, 2 of them administered by investigators and another conducted independently.
And they had to let me go.
And the case would go so cold, detectives wondered if they'd ever solve it. Until it unexpectedly gets red hot again at the very scene of the crime.
The home where Rebecca and Larry once lived used to sit on this lot right behind me. It was there until a few years after the murder, when it was mysteriously burned to the ground.
Putting the heat right back on Rebecca.
The house was torched.
Arson investigators finding evidence of fire accelerants.
Who do you believe did that?
I believe that if Rebecca didn't do it herself, she certainly arranged to have it done.
But Rebecca, who had gone broke and was in need of money, claimed she had nothing to gain from the fire, not even an insurance payout.
You're telling me here today you didn't burn that house down?
I would not have had a home to live in, and that home was in foreclosure. I would not have benefited from that house burning down financially 1 iota.
But the fire was suspicious and high profile enough to get the attention of cold case investigators who had been assigned to re-examine her husband's murder.
The state really wanted some outside person to kind of corroborate all the evidence that we had collected from the scene and really bring this case together.
And ironically, it is Rebecca herself who leads detectives to just what they're looking for.
Rebecca calls 911, and she's reporting a domestic disturbance.
With an unruly boyfriend named Alfred Nolan.
She wants the police to come because she wants this person removed.
And Nolan tells detectives something that makes them do a double take.
He told us about one time they were fighting, and she held a knife to his throat and said, "I'll kill you like I killed Larry."
Rebecca scoffs at it.
Did you do that?
No, that altercation never happened. Larry wasn't stabbed, he was shot.
Rebecca says Nolan is a career criminal, trying to buy himself a break on a charge that was about to send him back to prison for 10 to 15 years.
So you're saying the only reason why he came forward with this information is to try to
Because
help himself?
Absolutely. And they cut his charges for him.
Detective Michael Hasty doesn't deny Nolan had a credibility problem.
It's well chronicled that, Alfred Nolan, not a good guy, kind of a bad guy, criminal history, in and out of jails, in and out of prisons, all that's true.
But Detective Hasty says Nolan's allegation could be corroborated by other witnesses.
Despite all the knocks against him, is the fact that he had told other people about this before he even knew that police were even going to come ever talk to him.
Next, detectives throw the book at the widow Fenton.
Rebecca, you're under arrest for the murder of Larry Fenton. It really wasn't any one thing. If you took away one single piece of evidence, does the case fall apart? No, it doesn't rely on a single piece of evidence. It relied on everything that together was just overwhelmingly convincing of her guilt.